Shana Tova. If you build it, they will come. Look around and you see what happens when a group of people who feel deeply for our community come together with their expertise, their hearts, and their generosity for a common cause. That cause is to make us, the congregation of Sutton Place Synagogue, better and stronger. Last year, I ended this appeal with all of us singing Hine Ma Tovu Manayim together. This year, those words, how beautiful it is when we sit together, adorn our sanctuary. In past speeches, I asked you to please dream with me. Well, our dreams have begun to be realized. This is our field of dreams, and you are all a part of it. Sutton Place Synagogue is a congregation whose values are deeply rooted in the conservative movement. We are committed to the traditions of the past, but we boldly will change if that change means that we will improve our connection to Judaism and each other and will be more inclusive. The values of conservative Judaism are integral to who we are as a congregation and to our growth in membership. Our growth is due to an outstanding clergy, a great professional team, and a committed congregation, you, who participates in our stimulating programs, meaningful services, and outstanding schools. We know that people are looking for a Jewish connection, and we know that we are a congregation where that connection is available at every age and at every stage of life. Let's start with the machzor you're holding. The change in our machzor to Lev Shalem mirrors the change we made 3 years ago to Siddur Lev Shalem. The machzor will enhance our services and connect us to the meaning of these holidays. In the machzor is a quote by Abraham Joshua Heschel. It is gratefulness that makes our soul great. Let us be grateful for all that Sutton Place Synagogue has to offer and all the people who make this congregation the wonderful place it is, a place where we know the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. It would be impossible for me to talk about the new machzor and gratitude and not mention Mark Weiner. Many of you know that Mark Weiner, our past president, passed away this year. Mark was a learned man with true integrity who always put others before himself. Through a bequest in his will, we created the Mark Weiner Memorial Machzor Fund. He will forever be in our hearts and minds, and he will be with us as we celebrate the high holidays. Thank you to all of you who donated to this fund and sponsored a machzor for our congregation. The activities at Sutton Place Synagogue reflect our Jewish life cycle. We celebrate in joy and we grieve in sadness. Thankfully, there's more joy to celebrate than sadness, but it's nice to know that we have a Jewish home where we can be comforted through difficult times and join in celebration. All I need to say is Pittsburgh, or Tree of Life Synagogue, and we all go back to that day in October when our world was devastated. We knew the 11 people who died going to Shabbat morning services because they were us. In response, we held an interfaith service. Over 700 people of every religion and color came to pray with us. We learned on that day that even in the worst of circumstances, we are not alone. From the most horrific modern-day act of anti-Semitism in the United States today came the most beautiful outpouring of love from and towards our community. This also reinforced that security and safety must be paramount, and what we must do everything we can to keep our members safe, a fact that was further proven to us after the horror in San Diego. I want to reassure you that we have a clear plan for security now and in our future. The moment Show Up for Shabbat was born out of this tragedy, and show up we did. The next 2 weeks were celebrations of what we do best, B'nai Mitzvah, at our synagogue. We saw firsthand the continuity of our traditions. The horror of Pittsburgh did not lead to fear, it led to determination. This was not the first time our people have been challenged, and unfortunately, it won't be the last. But no one will stop us from practicing our faith. We will not be deterred, and we will bind together in celebration and love. Sutton Place Synagogue has so much to offer if you choose to participate. From our Purim Carnival and Purim Spiel to our Passover Seders, from Women's League and Men's Club Shabbat to Teen Shabbat, from a women's retreat to a trip to Israel, from young professionals programs like Pizza in the Hut on Sukkot and Boko movie nights, from community learning programs like SPS Talks to courses taught by our own congregants on the American Jewish experience, from fantasy football to bingo, from short stories aloud to writing your own life story, from our first science symposium to our annual and meaningful Yom HaShoah service, from Tat Shabbat to musical Kabbalat Shabbat to our beautiful weekly Shabbat services and our twice daily minyanim. I hope you had a chance to look through this year's amazing program guide that was mailed to our members. In it, you will see that we strive to have something for everyone who seeks to be a part of our Jewish community. A highlight of this year was our first annual gala in which we honored our beloved cantor of 36 years, Dov Karen. Many said it was like Dov's second bar mitzvah. We laughed, we cried, we danced, we ate, and we were together at a magnificent gala in which we celebrated Dov and his legacy to Sutton Place Synagogue, as well as honoring the entire Sutton Place community. If you missed it, you can celebrate with us at our second annual gala on April 2nd. Join us as we celebrate our community and our 5 past presidents whose devotion to Sutton Place Synagogue is boundless. Rick Kaminer, Roger Cohn, Mark Weiner of blessed memory, Bob Berend, and Phil Sassower. All of these programs don't just happen. They happen because of a dedicated clergy, staff, and group of lay leaders that make sure that they happen. I want to publicly thank our board. They've been extremely busy this year. We've had numerous additional meetings as we planned and built this sanctuary. The board was engaged, creative, and supportive, and we are fortunate to have such committed people leading us. I also want to thank my leadership partner, our Executive Vice President, Jeff Jacob, who has been with me every step of the way on this journey and will, more than ably, succeed me as president. The staff has been working in overdrive to make sure everything is getting done behind the scenes. We had a transition in the office this year and hired a new executive director. Hunter Gold has been with us since July. Hunter is smart, dedicated, warm, and engaging, and I hope you get to meet him during this holiday season. I'm also extremely grateful to Harriet Janover and David Frankel, who have been instrumental during this transition period. We are also fortunate to have Lindsay Bennett, Alyssa Schwager, Paige Corbett, and Sydney Henkin, who direct our outstanding schools, family center, and camp. And a special thank you to Barak Levy, who reads Torah with such expertise and patiently teaches our children for their B'nai Mitzvah. Now, how could I make a speech about the successes, our successes as a synagogue, and not mention the people who really lead us, Rabbi Rachel Ain and Cantor Dov Karen. Rabbi Ain has been our rabbi for the past 7 years. With her intellect, vision, values, and warmth, she has spearheaded a growth in membership that is practically unheard of in other conservative synagogues. She created the Young Professionals Group, started a program for teenagers called Hebrew High for the Rabbis, teaches a vast array of adult classes on subjects from the Talmud to Israel to the Musar, and is responsible for overseeing the conversion of at least 10 new Jews a year, exciting these young people with the joys of Judaism. She presides over our life cycle event with incredible energy. Simply put, Rachel Ain is a part of our lives, and we are truly blessed to have her as our rabbi. And of course, another important thing is she is a true partner to our cantor, Dov Karen. As you know, this is Dov's last high holidays with Sutton Place Synagogue as our cantor. We have been truly honored to have our Shabbat and holiday services made even more beautiful by his voice, his heart, and his soul for the past 36 years. 36, or 2 times chai, life. Dov has given us so much of his life and has given so much life to Sutton Place Synagogue. It's hard to imagine what the high holidays or Sutton Place Synagogue will be like without him. To say we will miss him is a gross understatement. He is our Shaliach Tzibor, our representative in prayer, and we believe that when Dov prays with us, his voice reaches heaven. Please stand to honor Dov. Please stand if he taught you to read Torah or Haftorah. Please stand if he taught your children or your grandchildren to read Torah or Haftorah. Please stand if he officiated in a life cycle event for your family, or if his voice has touched you in any way. Dov, or if Dov is your Shaliach Tzibor, your representative in prayer. Dov, we love you. Dov's shoes will be hard to fill. You may sit down. The difficult process of finding Dov's replacement has begun. We heard from you during the numerous focus groups, and as we fill out the application for the Cantors Assembly, the search committee, led by Roger Cohn and Josh Liederman, understand what our congregation needs and wants. I hope you will join us for Shabbat services as we interview cantorial candidates and hear them lead us in prayer and pray with us. We entered this holiday season by dedicating our sanctuary within a sanctuary at our meaningful Slichot service, where we recognized those who enabled us to be here experiencing this sacred space on Yom Kippur. A special thank you to the group of dedicated, generous individuals who made it possible for this to happen. They are listed in your capital project brochure at your seats, which I had one. Please review that. We are thankful to the chairs of the capital project, Greg Angrist, Herb Lepore, and Mark Pochapin, who started us on this path and continue as chairs. $2.3 million have been raised through the generosity of a small group who enabled the master plan and the construction of this sanctuary within a sanctuary. Their generosity was led, as I said before, by Gilda Block and her beloved husband of blessed memory, Henry, and an anonymous donor. As you see, we created a sacred space that will allow for more intimate prayer during most of the year, but still the grandeur needed for the high holidays. We are accessible with live streaming for those, I initially wrote for those who are homebound, but also for those in college who need a place to go. So hello, Elizabeth and Hannah. I know another person who's using live stream. And also by creating a digital loop for those who have digital hearing devices, and so that they can hear our services better. We had a dream and a vision, and it was made possible because people believed it could happen. We are not done. We are only beginning. During the process of transforming our sanctuary, we developed a master plan. The master plan addresses finishing the remainder of the sanctuary, improving the infrastructure of our building, adding programmatic and community space, and most importantly, improving the security of our building. Over the next few months, we will again have focus groups to go over the details of the master plan and listen to your feedback, just as we did last year. All of us who have chosen Sutton Place Synagogue to be our Jewish home are part of a growing, thriving, stimulating, and loving community. We have learned over and over again that we can only do the good work that we do as a community by joining together and participating. We need you all to participate by coming to Minyan and services, by attending programs and classes, and by donating to this Yom Kippur appeal. Our day-to-day operations depend on it. Think of the power of this community. If a small group of people could get together and make this sanctuary project happen, what could happen if we all came together and committed ourselves? How much better could we be? The possibilities are endless, and it is in all of our hands. This year, I would love to see 100% participation in this Yom Kippur appeal. Please join me and give generously with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might, so that we may continue to connect us to Judaism and each other. I started this talk by quoting the movie, Field of Dreams. I will end with a quote from the movie Jerry Maguire, and it's not "Show me the money," although I wouldn't mind if you showed Sutton Place Synagogue the money. You won't hear an argument from me if you do. But I was thinking of something a little bit more uplifting. You complete me. Sutton Place Synagogue is not complete without all of us joining together and saying, Hineni, here I am. I am present, and I want to help. Please do so by donating to this Yom Kippur appeal, because it is only when we come together as one that we can build on the present and secure our future. Gemar Chatima Tova.